What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and it's Fresh Build Friday. That's right, it's that time of the week again where we get you ready for the weekend with a brand new coil build. So I don't know about you guys, but I think it's high time we do another series build. I've got my rig pig here all polished up and ready to go, and I've got the Roughneck V3 on top of it. I have done a build in the Roughneck V3 before, but not a series build, so that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. I've got my wire all ready here. I am all set to go. I'm super excited about this one, so let's go ahead, grab our tools, our wick, our wire, our juice, our addy, all that good stuff. Let's go down to the close-up view and build it up. Alright guys, as you can see, we've got all of our tools ready to go. We are ready to build this one. Today we're going to be building on this guy right here. This is the Rig Pig by Vaping American Made Products, or Vape Amp. And we're going to be building on this atomizer here. This is the Roughneck V3 by Vape Amp. I've showed you guys a build on this one a while back, but not on the Rig Pig, so kind of excited for this. In any case, today we'll need some 28 gauge Kanthal wire. That's going to be our core wire today, and we're going to need, I'm doing it with 38 gauge. You can do it with 34 or 36 or 40 or whatever you want to use for the outer wire, but today I'm going to use some of this stuff right here. So since we're going to be doing 8-wrap coils, I feel like probably going to need at least 1.5 feet of our core wire for each, maybe total. Honestly, I'm going to have to just see. I haven't built in so long, you see. It's kind of hard for me to gauge how much wire I'm going to need. We'll do about 2.5 feet. I think that ought to do it. And the first thing we're going to do is just straighten out this wire, which all I do for that is just tighten it down in the chuck just like that. Stand up our drill real quick for this part here. Just grab onto the end of it with your pliers. I'm using toothless pliers for this step, and just spin it up for about 30 seconds or so. Alright, so now that we have one very long strand of straight wire here, all we're going to do is basically just thread it through our little spinner rig here. This is the USA Ohm Meters. I forget what this one's even called, rotate something, but yeah, this one is able to kind of twist around a little bit so that if you end up putting a lot of tension on your wire like I do, it doesn't get all bound up and stuff. And I'm actually using a slightly different jig system that I normally use. I actually switch it up and just basically put the little spinner rig on a weight. This thing is like a 10-pound counterweight that I've got here, so that's what I'm going to be using for this one. I'm just testing it out at this stage, basically. I just want to see if it will work or not. So there we go. All right. So just kind of stretching the wire out a little bit and pinching the end so that the wires sit nice and straight. And we're going to take our 38 gauge and get it started here in the end on our chuck of our drill. So the way I usually do that is just kind of thread it through, kind of floss that the drill chuck with that 38 gauge, and it usually fits right in no problem, just like that. And you could wrap it around a few times if that helps with a little bit of added tension on there. Just wrap it around your little nub if you left a little nub like I do. And usually I'll just give it a couple of quick spins around just to get it going without really too much care about whether or not it's binding up or whatever, and then we start our actual Claptoning process. So the real trick behind getting a nice long strand of fused Clapton wire is a lot of back pressure towards the direction of your drill at first. Basically, the first about 6 to 8 inches or so should have a lot of back pressure just to keep that wire nice and tight up against each other, and that way you have a nice tight fusing process. After about, the midway point or so, you got to start easing up on that pressure a little bit and start kind of leveling out and making sure it's perpendicular to your actual core wire here, so that way it doesn't bind up as much. I usually kind of make a mistake or two here and there, and that's not really that big of a deal because you can always back it off and then, restart the drill again. And then loosen up on the tension with your fingers on the actual spool of wire towards the end. So looser and looser as you go throughout the entire thing here, and that way it doesn't gnarl up and you get all those messy kind of spots there. But if you do mess up, it's not a big deal. Just keep going with it. As long as it doesn't, really screw up the whole length of wire, then you should be fine. But there we go. We have a nice long strand here of fused Clapton wire. We are ready to start building our coils. So I'm just going to clip that little wire there. I'm just going to clip it right here at the end. Voila, there we go. So next step is just giving it a quick spin backwards and straightening this stuff out, and then we're going to make our coils. All right guys, so we have our strand of wire here, and now it's time to wrap a coil. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got our 3mm bit on our coil jig here, which is what we're going to be using today. And sometimes I find that it's really good to use some nylon pliers. If you've got a set of these, they are very handy when it comes to coil building, because you can kind of grip onto your wire, and it gives you a nice solid grip without gnarling it up at all. So that's something that I really like. And you never know, sometimes you just go to the craft store and you find something that you just kind of speaks to you, and you just go, I wonder if that could help my coil building skills. I mean, I know there's a lot of little tips and tricks of the trade, and that's actually a good question for you guys. Where do you find the biggest inspiration for your coil building? I mean, is it, from YouTube, or is it from Facebook or Instagram? I mean, I love seeing coil porn on Instagram. They have some really good posts, and I also get inspired from, actual real life objects. Sometimes you see something like a man-made structure or something like that, you wonder, it's like, wait, I could probably build a coil that looks like that. I love geometry and shapes, and I'm a big fan of the works of H.R. Geiger and M.C. Escher. So I don't know. Art kind of inspires life and vice versa, if you know what I mean. I'm not trying to get philosophical on you guys here, but there we go. We have made our first coil here, and today we're doing 8 wraps. So we're just going to go ahead and build another one, and we'll start installing them. All right, guys. So here are the coils that we're going to be putting in our Roughneck V3 today. So there we go. Not the cleanest coils I've ever built before, but you know what? It's really easy to clean them up when they are already installed. So let's just go ahead and do that real quick. This one's kind of a unique build deck because it has this kind of interesting clamp system. It's a side clamp. Instead of having a top clamp or a bottom clamp, this one is on the side, and everyone's kind of been doing these, and they're kind of interesting, I gotta say. I like every different company's take on a sort of clamp system, but I'm going to just kind of stretch this over like that and just kind of get it somewhat in place. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect in this stage here. Just going to loosen that one up a little bit more. And let's just grab our other coil. And you can measure these and you can trim them off if you wanted to, or whatever you want to do, but personally, I like leaving a little extra room just in case I need it. If I make a little mistake or something like that, it's good to have a little bit extra wire kicking around just in case. All right, whoa, almost kicked that coil out. So I'm going to try to get it in place and then just kind of bend it over like we normally do, just like that. And this one kind of spans across. That. Yeah, there we go. This one's kind of fallen out already, so just put that back into place. There we go. Stay. No. When your coils won't stay in place. This coil's going on the naughty list this year. Alright, I'm just going to tighten it down. Like that. And then straighten it up. See where we're at. Yeah, this one's looking pretty good. Might need a little bit more tightening. Bada boom. This one. Yeah. And all that slack will come out when we fire these bad boys up. So there we go. I think we're ready to trim our excess wire off here. So instead of pulsing our coils on the pig, I've got the Rig V3 here in its place, and that's what we're going to tune up our coils with today. So it'll give us a good indication on what we need to work on as far as the coils are concerned. So just kind of basically heating them up. And, you know, since the resistance is a little bit higher on these coils, it's not going to get scorching hot really quickly or anything like that. So it should make for a nice tuning process. And we're just going to kind of do the normal pinch and pulse thing. Seeing if we have any trouble spots anywhere. And these coils are a little messy. I'll admit that, yeah. But then again, sometimes it takes a little bit of TLC before they get perfect, you know. So you just got to work at it. That's all. No big deal. But in the end, we still get the same result. And that's what counts. So, ooh. Just kind of going back and forth, double checking, making sure they're straight and they're even and all that stuff. And, you know, they're not touching the posts. Where's our bit? Where's our bit? There it is. Just making sure they're not butting up against the posts there. A little bit more maybe. Like that. That works for me. There we go. I mean, look at that. That took a minute, maybe, if that. Start to finish tuning process. Not too bad. And I'm pretty impressed with how actually clean they came out, you know. They started off looking a little bit janky, but now they're looking pretty decent. So there we go. We have our coils all nice and tuned. Let's go ahead and wick this thing up. All right, guys, are you ready for this? Let's go ahead and see some vapor production. Oh, yes. There is absolutely nothing like a nice series build. Oh, I can already tell you guys this is going to be a good one. All right, so let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about this build some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the build section of the video. Now let's talk about the coils that we just put in this Roughneck V3 here. Now, I did want to let you guys know that I did this exact same build before on a regulated device, and I metered the coils, and they came out to about 0.35 to 0.37. And if you wanted to, you can add an extra wrap or two on these coils and still be totally fine. You're still going to get plenty of vapor production. But with this here, I love this setup. I absolutely love it. It's my go-to series mod build, and let's talk about the performance. performance, as far as the vapor production, obviously you get tons of vapor with this one here. As far as the heat factor, which is of course my first category as always, it's a little bit on the warmer side. I feel like that has to do more with the bottom airflow than anything else. If it had direct airflow like on the Roughneck V2, then it would be a little bit cooler, but still it's definitely up there no matter what you do with this one here. So I would say kind of the hot side, definitely not the warm side. It's more on the hot side than anything else. But with that, as far as my second category, which is the ramp up and ramp down time, the ramp up time is almost instantaneous. I get maybe a quarter of a second of lag before it really gets going. But let's go ahead and take a drag off this thing. We'll check out the ramp down time. Now, surprisingly enough, with how hot this build is, the ramp down time is actually kind of normal. It's around the 4-second mark, which is totally acceptable for me. It's just a little bit above average, but that's not a problem whatsoever. I really don't have any wicking issues with this one, but I will say it drinks juice like a mother. So with that, be prepared to go through 100 mil really quick. And for my third category, which is the difficulty of this build, this one is on the easier side. If you can build a regular fuse Clapton, then you can absolutely build it for a series box mod. Honestly, dealing with 28 gauge as your core wire is probably the most difficult thing because it's a little bit thinner and it's a little bit more springy and kind of harder to work with. But at the end of the day, I really got these coils to look pretty and I'm pretty happy with the results. And for my fourth and final category, which is the flavor on this build, today I'm vaping some of this American liquid company Peach Delight e-liquid, and it is absolutely delightful. I've been vaping on this stuff for a few days. This one was given to me by my buddy Jason Kelly. Big shout out to you, Jason, if you're watching this video. But yeah, this one is like a peaches and cream sort of flavor. As you guys know by now, I am a huge peach fan, and this one definitely tickles my fancy. So as far as the flavor on this one, it is absolutely wonderful. I love the flavor I get off of fused Claptons. There's really nothing that compares to it, honestly. I've even tried series alien coils, and they come pretty darn close, but I really still feel like for the simplicity of the fused Clapton build, you really can't go wrong with the flavor it produces, and I'm definitely happy with the flavor that I'm getting off of these coils. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to click that notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Big shout out to you guys in the notification squad for getting here early. Also, leave me some comments in the box below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this build or the Roughneck V3, or if you want any additional tips or tricks or anything like that, just leave a comment right down there below. Also, make sure you check out the description. That's where you're going to find the advocacy and my social media links. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on.